discussing the free weight exercise, the hammer curl, and the non-traditional exercise, the kettlebell swing. So when beginning the hammer curl, you should grab free weights that best meet your needs. You should grab them with a neutral grip, just like this. Your feet should be a little wider than shoulder width apart, slight bend to your knees, and also you should have your shoulders packed. When we talk about shoulders being packed, it's like pinching a pencil in between those shoulder blades to keep a neutral spine during the entire lift. The weights should rest on your thighs, and to begin the lift, we'll be doing an alternating hammer curl lift. So we'll start with our right arm. To begin, you will flex that elbow, bringing the weight all the way up to your anterior deltoid, and then you will be extending that elbow back down in a slow and controlled motion, back down to the thigh, and then once that free weight reaches that thigh, you will start with the other arm, bringing that free weight up to the anterior deltoid, and then back down. And you will continue to alternate. When performing exercise, you need to make sure that you are not using your upper arms. Those upper arms are just on the side of your body, and you're just using your lower arms to extend and flex the weight. When performing this exercise, some communication cues would be, like previously stated, keep your shoulders packed at all times to keep that neutral spine. Keep an athletic stance in order to stay balanced throughout the entire lift. Do not use other body parts throughout the lift. Should just be coming from those lower arms. Nothing else should be moving on the body. And also, a mistake that a lot of people make when they use too heavy of a weight is creating that momentum to really pick up that weight. Once you see that as a trainer, you should stop the athlete and lower that weight, because obviously they're not capable of performing the lift correctly by using that weight. So moving into that, a regression for this lift would be to use a lighter weight or just use body weight. Okay, so just to get that form down, you could practice just body weight until you're capable of performing the exercise correctly. The progression would be to add more weight to the exercise. So obviously in all training programs, you should progressively add more weight to the lifts that you do to improve that muscular strength and muscular endurance. Another lift you could do is perform the lift on one leg to really add muscle, or to work that core during that lift. You can perform it on a cable machine or a seated incline hammer curl. The benefits of the hammer curl is it improves muscle strength, muscle hypertrophy, muscle endurance of the brachialis, biceps brachii, and the brachioradialis. It also improves wrist stability and also can improve grip strength. The advantage of this exercise is, since you are using that neutral grip, you can get more of a forearm workout, improve your forearm strength better than other bicep curl exercises that you can perform. This exercise is also appropriate for everyone because it can go from beginners using just their body weight all the way up to professionals using increased weight or other exercises that I listed before. Moving on to the kettlebell swing. When performing the kettlebell swing, you should put the kettlebell right in front of you so it's positioned in between your legs. Your feet should be a little shoulder width apart, slight bend to your knees. And also, it's very important for this lift that your shoulders are packed, that you have a neutral spine, and that you're flexing your core during the entire exercise. The first motion you should do for the kettlebell swing is to hinge those hips backwards. As you hinge those hips backwards, those weight goes back onto your heels and not on your toes. And as you grab the kettlebell, you're doing an overhand grip. Okay, you're going to begin by creating momentum. As the kettlebell goes between your legs, you thrust your hips forward, letting the kettlebell just swing back and forth as you flex and extend those hips. It's important to mention during this lift that it is not your arms or your hands that is creating that momentum. it's all coming from your hips. That explosion, that force from your hips as it flexes and extends is what creates the kettlebell moving back and forth. For the kettlebell swing, I think it's important to mention safety tips. So the first one being, there should be nobody in front of you when you are performing the kettlebell swing. This is due to the fact that if the kettlebell does bring your weight forward or it starts slipping out of your hand, the athlete should just let the kettlebell go in order to keep themselves safe. The only way to keep everyone else safe is to make sure nobody is in front of them while they're performing the kettlebell swing. Some common communication cues for the kettlebell swing is to keep your weight back on your heels, like we talked about. Hinge at the hips and slight bend your knees. A lot of times when athletes first start doing the kettlebell swing, their first action is to squat down and grab that kettlebell. We should not have that. Slight bend your knees, your hips should be hinging backwards for that first motion that you do. Do not control the kettlebell with your arms. Okay, the kettlebell, your arms and your hands are just there to control the kettlebell, not to move it. Okay, so we're not swinging with your arms or your hands. Also, like previously stated, neutral spine, shoulders packed, core engaged throughout the entire exercise. A regression for this exercise is glute bridges to generate force, kettlebell good mornings to enforce the hinge, neutral spine, engaged core, and shoulders packed, and the Romanian deadlift. A progression exercise is an alternating kettlebell swing or a sandbag kettlebell swing. The benefits of a kettlebell swing is it increases explosive strength, especially vertical jump, increased aerobic capabilities, increased maximum power output, increased rate of force production, and increased muscle endurance and strength. Advantages of the kettlebell swing compared to Olympic lifts is that you don't need a lot of space to perform the kettlebell swing, you don't need a lot of equipment, and it's less expensive. That Olympic lift equipment can be expensive. When performing this kettlebell swing, all you need is that kettlebell. It's also appropriate for everyone because you could be a beginner using lightweight all the way up to a professional using heavier weights or those other exercises that I included.